How can I build a movement for change? What a great question that is. Um, when I think about being an entrepreneur and somebody who is all about making change happen, of course, building a movement where you've got others involved is a critical part of that puzzle. I think of a movement as, well, it's an idea that perhaps I've come to because of my purpose and what I'm passionate about and what I'm capable of delivering upon. And as you've answered the questions around your own motivations and the kinds of challenges that you're going to be dealing with and putting some shape to those ideas, you're then really into the zone of saying, can I convince somebody else that the change that I want to see is important? Often we think of creating a movement of change needing us to go straight to the senior executive in our organization, the most senior person, and getting their permission or their support, potentially financially, or there's resources more broadly, in getting us to have the resources to drive the change that we want to see. But a far better way, and the most important thing that I can say in this space, is that a movement starts with one other person to ourselves, because we start to build credibility in our ideas and change that we want to see. And of course, change making is about getting other people to change the way they behave, what they work on, and how they spend their day and time. And then one other person is now, let's go to two other people. Now there's three of us that we're convinced. And we're all convinced that this change is important and that we've got the plans and ideas to drive it forward. There's a beautiful video that's such fun. It's quite grainy, and I think it was taken with probably a phone's camera back when those were pretty poor. But there's a man on a hillside who stands up and starts dancing and just has got some energy to him. And that may be you and your idea. What first happens is that one other person stands up and you start to dance together and feed off each other, and the movement gets quite interesting. And but they're still looking a bit crazy to others who are just sat on the hillside, who are looking at these two people dancing away with their idea that they're both excited about. And then a third person stands up, and this is now three people who have all bought into this idea of dance as the thing that should happen then. And what's incredible, and of course there's lots of psychology in this and all sorts of different things that go on, is that once there's three people standing up, dancing in a way that others find attractive, is that within, if it's taken about a minute, I think, the video for those three people to stand up, within the next minute, the same period it took to get to three, the whole hillside is standing up and dancing. Now, this wasn't a coordinated activity and it wasn't put on as a show. It was actually just naturally happened and somebody caught it on their camera, which is why the old video is so critical in this image. But think about building a movement of change is that you start with being clear with what you want to achieve. You've moved yourself. Then you bring somebody else in and you've got them convinced that they should support you with their time and any potential resources that they can bring themselves. And then there's a third person. And now, as my voice is driving this energy forward, you've got the three of you and the hillside's coming. Now, at this point, the movement has become something that you need to build a more coordinated approach to communicate with, to have perhaps people out there, key stakeholders who are kind of bought in, who can represent the broader mission elsewhere. So now your structure of your strategy, the understanding that others have for the things that you're advocating for, and the belief system of this collective starts to evolve and starts to build. Now, this has now got so much movement that you're starting to think, oh gosh, I need more resources. Now it's at this point when you've got a movement of a number of people who are committed to the cause, that you can take your idea with much more substance than just the technical piece of the idea, but with the emotion and the followership that you've now got for this change that you're driving. And now you go to your executive teams and ask for more resources, ask for more support. And the support can be verbal, it can be through communications that they put on and put through. Resources, of course, could be more people who get formal time to spend on your change making program than just the side of desk work, up to jobs that are assigned to these things, to formality, and then of course money. So what a great question. How can I build a movement of change? There's so much more to this, but it's a critical step, is think about that hillside, think about convincing one person, and then two, and now we're three, and the hillside is coming.